The war had raged for years. What started as a peaceful protest by the lowlands had become a bloody rebellion against the Northern High Command. Villages were burned, families torn, and the rebel soldiers, often called terrorists by the state, were hunted down and executed. In the midst of this chaos was Dara Elwyn, the only daughter of General Thorn Elwyn, the man leading the brutal crackdown on the rebellion. Dara lived in a walled estate in the capital city, protected, pampered, and blind to the pain her father's orders brought upon the land. But Dara was not like her father. Where he saw defiance, she saw desperation. Where he used force, she longed for dialogue. Still, she remained silent, bound by the chains of blood and legacy. Her opinions were dismissed as idealism. Her questions met with cold eyes. Everything changed the day her convoy was ambushed in the countryside. The rebels hadn't meant to take prisoners, but they hadn't expected Kai, one of their sharpest commanders, to hesitate when he saw Dara. Dressed in civilian clothes, she wasn't immediately recognized, and Kai, suspicious yet intrigued, ordered her to be brought to a hidden outpost rather than executed on the spot. There, she posed as a traveling healer. At first, Kai interrogated her gently, probing for her identity. She claimed to have fled the city after losing family in the war. Her hands trembled, but her eyes were strong. Something in her spoke truth, even through the lies. And so, she stayed. Dara tended to wounded rebels with skills she had learned in secret, reading medical books forbidden by her father. The rebels, hardened and suspicious, eventually began to trust her. And Kai, despite every warning in his blood, found himself drawn to her intelligence, her wit, and the sadness she hid behind her calm. He told her stories. She listened. And then she told her, half-truths stitched into fiction. Weeks passed. The line between enemy and lover blurred. One night, under a bruised sky and flickering candlelight, they kissed. It was a soft thing born from shared loneliness, and from it grew something dangerous and real. But the truth has sharp edges. Dara's identity was revealed not by betrayal, but by a child. One of the rebel scouts who had once lived in a town destroyed by General Thorn's forces. He recognized her from an old propaganda broadcast. "She's the butcher's daughter," he spat. The camp erupted in fury. Kai was torn. The council wanted her executed. Dara stood silently, refusing to beg, refusing to run. She finally confessed her name, her lineage, and her shame. "I didn't know what my father truly did," she said, "but I do now, and I can't return to that life." Not after knowing this. The rebels demanded justice. Kai, now branded a traitor for protecting her, made a choice. He fled with her. Together, they crossed the border into the Ashen Forests, a lawless zone where neither side held control. There, in a crumbling village among displaced war victims, they started over. Dara became a healer for the broken, and Kai laid down his weapon. But peace is not a place. It is a sacrifice. Months later, news came that General Thorn had launched a scorched earth assault across rebel lands. Villages were decimated in retaliation for Dara's kidnapping. Hundreds died. Dara collapsed when she heard. "I thought leaving would end it," she said, "but I was only the fuse." Kai blamed himself too, so he made a decision. He returned to the capital, alone, with proof of his relationship with Dara, journals she had written, medical records, photos. His goal, to expose the lies. To shake the public into seeing that the war had consumed everything good. He was captured, tortured, executed, but his message got out. Dara, now pregnant with Kai's child, watched as the capital reeled. Soldiers laid down arms, civilians marched, a ceasefire was brokered, then peace, fragile and trembling. Dara never returned to the city. Instead, she raised their son in the same village where she and Kai had last known joy. She taught him to heal, not harm, to question, not obey, to fight only for truth. And every year she lit a lantern for Kai, the rebel who fell in love with the general's daughter and changed the world.